Hi, Christine. It's Debbie.
Hi, Deb. Yep, I see Deb H. How are you tonight?
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Wonderful.
Enjoying the little reprieve from sub-zero temperatures.
Yes, yeah, it makes a big difference.
It does. It's kind of refreshing.
Absolutely. Did we hear from everybody tonight?
No, I did not. The only person who I know will not be able to be here is Sue Palmer.
Okay.
She did get back to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Matt.
Hello,
Hiya.
how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
How
Good,
you doing?
good,
How was
Christine.
Saturday's? Good. How was Saturday's meeting? Was it long?
No, actually, it was remarkably productive, possibly
Good.
historic. We actually managed to get through the entire budget plus salaries in one meeting. And
Oh.
we don't have to raise the taxes and we're under budget.
There you go. I guess that is historic. Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice to get it all in one meeting because it was sounding like you had to do it in several, just from the board meetings.
Yeah, it's usually at least two.
Mm-hmm.
Last year I think it was three, but last year was a tough year, so.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It's good
Yeah.
that things work out that way.
Yep.
Mhm.
Hi, Kathleen. Matt, I still owe you an email about the credits for that Preservation Commission training we attended. I have a
Oh,
note
yeah.
right here. I have my note right here, and I looked at it and went, "Oh, wait, I didn't email him." So I'll email you, and then we can put if you could put it on March's one of March's meetings.
Yep, no worries.
Thanks.
Just gonna step away for a second.
Hey, Chuck.
I do.
You know if Jim was going to come, Chuck? Did he mention if he was available tonight?
Yeah, he was planning on it.
Good. Hooray. We'll have a quorum. We can approve the minutes.
I think Tony's out of town.
He is. He has 2 new grandchildren, right? Was it 2? Did they have twins?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's
We
good.
just had our meeting. He called in from New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he said he was, I knew he was, he said he was out of town and to help him with the grandkids, so good for him. He said he would try to make it tonight, though. He was gonna try. But I told him if he's having fun with the grandbabies, he's absolutely excused. Life's too short, right?
That's right. The virus has done a lot of damage. I've got a son out in Park City, has 2 little kids, and the one that's about a little over a year old, I've never seen, live or held. And I've
Yeah.
only seen the older one once,
Oh,
other than Zoom.
yeah. As soon as this breaks, everybody can travel. Hey, Jane.
Hey, how
Jim?
you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for those pictures.
Oh, were you able to open the PowerPoint show or not?
I was not able to open that PowerPoint, which just befuddled me.
It's really
But I'll-
funny. I don't think I locked it.
Because I use a lot of PowerPoint, so I was surprised. But the pictures, I was like amazed.
Yeah, it is amazing how good they are.
The one that caught my eye that I thought was really funny was the Williamsville liquor store.
Oh,
It never changed.
no, no. I think that building has moved though. I don't think it's like where it was in 55. It's the same building, but somehow they moved it or something. I don't know.
Amazing. All right, we'll give everybody a couple minutes. We'll give Mary a couple minutes. She might be trying to call in. And like I said, I don't think we're going to see Tony.
Oh, okay.
He's out of town.
We got a quorum now? We got enough people?
We do, yes.
Oh, good. So we can approve the minutes.
Yes, that's what right before you got on, I'm like, yay, we have a quorum.
That's good.
Good news.
How you doing, Kathleen?
Okay, just, another day.
Yeah, I hear you. So I'm scheduled for my first vaccine shot. First week of March in Rochester.
Oh,
So that's where I could get in.
I get my second on Thursday at UV.
Oh, good. Oh, lucky you.
I got in to make an appointment the first week, and mine is on March 26th. That'll be the first one.
Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, I was sound asleep one night. My wife woke me up and said, "Your daughter says that we can get you on," and
Yeah.
she did it only about a week ago, and somehow got on in Rochester the first Thursday in March. So,
that's pretty good. My mom, she signed up in about a month and a half ago at UV, and she had to wait until mid-March.
Yeah, my appointment was made on January 14th.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had one of my sisters, who lives in Chicago, said that they're having the same sort of issue, that it's really hard to get on through the state registry to anything.
Could you have gotten it earlier, Kathleen, if you went to like Rochester or Syracuse?
No, at that
No.
time, they weren't even open for them. And I really don't want to drive, especially if it's, you don't know how you're going to be afterwards. And I just thought,
Yeah, supposedly the first shot's not bad. The second one, I guess you
Yeah.
get side effects.
I'm the only one at work right now who hasn't had it. Probably, I'm the oldest one there. Too,
Oh, lovely.
so. But I mean, I'm pretty much in my office, and I try to stay away from all the students, but they're still walking around without masks on. It's just,
Yeah, Canisius?
Tunisia?
Yep.
Well, let me tell you, my sister and brother-in-law spent a week in Florida. It is a different world.
Yeah.
It is a different world. Mask? What mask? I mean, they went into restaurants, they went into stores. They said, gee, do we need a mask? And the restaurant person said, only if you want to. Nobody had masks on. I mean, it just, well, it's debatable, but it's just a different situation down there.
Yeah, it's different.
I'm double masked and using filters and everything now, and I use N95s at work for
Really?
anyway. But
Wow.
Yeah, I
don't
don't.
wear them out of the area I'm working on. But it's I just.
My
All
wife
right.
had a second shot last Thursday, and she had absolutely no reaction to it.
Great.
No sore arm, no nothing. It was like nothing happened.
That's good. I heard like sore arm, maybe like a fever for the first day, maybe you feel like wiped out or something. So I'm planning on doing nothing after a second shot.
Yeah.
My son's wife, who's a nurse practitioner out at Salt Lake City, she had her second shot and she started getting nauseated. And so she thought she might be pregnant again. Went down to pregnancy test and she wasn't pregnant.
Yeah, that's good. Whatever.
All right, very good. I will, I'm gonna call, I don't know if Mary's gonna be able to join us by phone. If she can, she'll jump in. But we'll call the meeting to order 7:05 PM.
Okay.
We do have a quorum, which is nice. And we'll do roll call
Sure. Ms. Hunt,
here.
Ms. Lowther, Mr. Akers,
Here.
Mr. Tomorrow,
Sure.
Mr. Bannon,
Nope.
Ms. Delaney,
Here.
Mr. Barrett. I see he's here.
I see him.
His
It's
sound.
muted.
Mr. Stone, Ms. Palmer. Okay, thank you. And Trustee Etu.
I'm here too.
Mhm.
I think Tom left. We're down to 6, so his phone was he on the
Was there?
computer?
Yeah.
He was there up until roll call.
Yeah.
All righty. I don't know.
Okay.
So
Last,
I'm gonna put him down. I don't know, as absent or what? He was here when I
he was-
took roll
yeah.
call. And
He
now
was
You
we're
might
here.
call back in. Maybe you had a problem.
yeah, maybe I'll call back in.
We'll wait. I believe there's 2 sets of minutes for you to approve. The January and then the previous, which was
January and October.
October. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I had those both out just.
You want to do them separately?
Yes, because I think we should do those separately.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll need, Kathleen wasn't at that meeting,
Yeah, I have to
Something you're-
abstain.
In
Okay.
October.
either Chuck or Jim, if you can.
I'll move it. Move the adopt the minutes,
Motion.
approve the minutes.
I think they were pretty. Yeah, they were pretty good. We were ready to do it last month, so a second on that.
Second,
Thank you. And then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Delaney,
Matt?
abstain.
Matt, where are you, Matt? You out there?
I'm here. What's up?
Okay, quick question. We have a quorum, but since Kathleen's abstaining from those minutes, are we okay to approve those minutes? Technically? Yeah,
Well, I
Can we-
suppose the answer, well. Yeah, no, you'd be okay because her abstention is essentially a no. So you're 3-1.
okay, we'll leave it at that. Yeah, get
Yep,
those
sound good.
through.
I don't think there's anyone out there really keeping track anyway, so.
I
think
just wasn't
you're
here, so
probably
I
right.
couldn't tell you.
Well, you did read them, Kathy.
I did.
They sound good, right? All right, so then we'll need a motion for the minutes from January 26th, 2021.
So moved.
second,
All those in favor, and did everybody get a chance to read them? Just
Yeah.
real quickly, because I did have a question on those. I do have a question on those. I don't believe Mr. Greco was there, but he's listed as
Oh.
present.
That's my mistake.
Uh,
So with,
I'll remove them.
yeah, okay, if we could just remove him, because other than that, they looked good. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Kathleen?
Oh, aye.
Thank
Okay,
you.
perfect. Thank you. All right, new business. The request for the coloring books. For St. Peter and Paul, they requested 50 coloring books. Mary Lowther is the contact person for that. She knew the woman that was requesting them. Matt had forwarded that request to myself, and Mary took over on that one. We did a straw poll, pretty much just a verbal or email poll of whether or not everybody agreed to that, and it was unanimous to donate those coloring books. Tony did bring up whether or not we would be mentioned, or if there's a mention of who's donating them on the books. And Mary said there is a sticker of some sort. Is that correct?
there is notification in the book that this is put together by the Historical Preservation Commission.
Okay, good, good. So she was going to contact for pickup. They'll probably pick them up at the village hall. And if there is any type of a program, she was going to ask that we be listed as a donor for the donation. It's for the 185th anniversary. Been around a while, huh? St. Peter and Paul's been here a while.
Wow.
Sure has.
So they built about the Civil War.
Yeah. So
The
that
guy
was,
that started it, Neumann became a saint when he moved to Philadelphia. His work's there, and he's been given sainthood.
oh, okay. So anything else under new business? I didn't have anything for new business. I have some information, on the historic plaques, but we'll do that for some new potential plaque recipients. So we can do that under the plaque project. So nothing else under new business. We'll move to old business. The Main Street photo project.
Okay, we'll bring you up to date where we are. So last week, I think it was last week, Chuck and Tony and I had another committee meeting, and here's the bottom line. We Chuck is going to, was contacting the Williamsville Business Association. At one point, they weren't getting back to Chuck. Now, Chuck, did they get back to you at all, or did you have
They
any
still
luck?
have not, I sent 2 emails out over the weekend and they have not responded back at all.
Okay. I mean, the project's a little bit on hold because we haven't heard from them. Number one, things I have done, I did I did go through Shutterfly to try to have one of these printed up because there was an issue that came up as to, how grainy are these things going to be if you blow them up to 8x10 or even larger. And interestingly enough, when I did it through Shutterfly, I haven't ordered it yet. It came up flagged as to that an 8x10 may be not as satisfactory as you would like, type of thing. I'm still inclined to order it and just see what the 8x10 looks like. But a couple of things, I haven't done that because first of all, I wanted to see if this thing was going to go forward. And secondly, I did email Matt. I don't know if you remember, Matt. It's not a big issue, but I emailed you about the possibility of getting my cost of this covered through the village funds to order this photograph through Shutterfly. It's about like $7, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's, you just keep your receipt and then contact Judy and submit it through.
Okay, all right. The other issue that came up, this whole idea about grain, the digital images being too grainy to do an 8x10, Tony suggested, and Tony's background is he's got a lot of background in photography and imaging and such with his previous positions. And he suggested that we try to get a hold of a photographer to take a photograph of the original and use that would be probably better quality if you started with the original photograph. And we were brainstorming, do we know a photographer in the village? Well, I thought of Short Street Photography, which is right on Main Street in the village. I offered to contact them, but I haven't contacted them because I want to see how the Shutterfly image looks. And also we wanted to see if we were going to go that route. Yeah, Chuck, go ahead. Do you have something?
No,
Uh-oh.
one of my concerns about going that route is, can we get the person to volunteer? Because we don't know the number of photographs. It could be 5, it could be 40 that want to have these done. And the amount of time to photograph them and then to do the enlargement is going to be a considerable amount of time put into that. And I'm not sure if she's going to do it, or if you can find someone that's going to put that type of effort into it. Also, you're talking about photographing it. You're going to take time for the town to go through their files and pull all the originals out so they can be photographed. And is that going to be photographed at the clerk's office, or is that going to be back at her darkroom area? Is she going to take all those photographs with her or not? There isn't a nice short time frame on this. I think to answer your question on the Shutterfly type thing, you could take your digital image that you have and go out to the old Xerox place there that's on Transit at Eastern Hills, and just have them print up an 8x10 or print up a 10x20. And you're going to get the resolution that you're going to get off of her going in and photographing it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not I don't know that much about photography. I mean, when Chuck raises a bunch of issues, that's the problem, the issues with getting the original photographs photographed is that is a whole different process we'd have to work on. We have to work with the town clerk. We would have to work with the archivist for the town and go back to their collection and identify which specific photographs. And we'd have to talk to Short Street photographers to see how much they would charge for something like that. And in fact, does it make any difference if you photograph the photograph and enlarge it? Is the quality going to be better? I mean, those are the things that if you go that route, it's just, there's a whole more number of process steps that are going to have to take place.
Jim, I tend to agree with Chuck, because I've done a lot of this myself, and you know, having photographs, the original photographs, and then the second iteration, and it is good to have somebody that can photograph it, but you're getting into not only the time, but the cost, and she will charge.
Right.
But you know, either Office Depot out there, as Chuck said, or even just take a scoot into Walgreens. I've had some pretty weird photographs myself, and these are black and white, aren't they? Most of
Right.
them.
Yes.
They tend to be a little bit better than the color. And if you just go into Walgreens, that's going to be cheap and cheerful. You're going to get the test piece you need, and you know, make a determination that way. Because
Okay.
otherwise, you know, the thing is that the cost on those things is more of the paper, the photographic paper that they put it on. But just to see if it can be sharpened up, the black and white usually does tend to be a little bit, you know, it may diminish a bit, but you're already at a second iteration of it at this point, you know.
Yeah.
So,
All right, investigate Walgreens.
yeah, I go there regularly too, and I use Shutterfly, and at least that's you know, quick.
Yeah, is
You know-
Walgreens cheaper, you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're both Office Depot and Walgreens is probably cheaper than.
Okay, all right,
And
let me
usually
try.
with coupons. You know?
We could try one of those routes and at least see what the quality is in an 8x10.
Okay, can we get a date? Like, can we say by next Friday, we'll have you know, we need to start getting some hard dates, or else we're never gonna get anything accomplished. So maybe by March 5th, we could have something that we could share, you know, that we can see, or that you guys could get an idea, because then we gotta have everything rocking and rolling by, you know, May
Yeah, well,
1st.
the problem is, of course, if we don't get the Williamsville Business Association responding, I don't know where we go with it. That's,
Well, here's another idea I had, because if
Okay.
we're not getting a lot of cooperation, Matt put out a very nice letter to the plaque recipients, and we do have 3 yeses back.
okay,
And if we did their pictures, and they're all included, if we did their photographs, then we could just do photograph and plaque, and at least get a start and have something concrete for May.
all right,
And then,
go ahead.
you know, and then we can sort of try to tie that in, and then we know we need 10 photographs or 8 photographs or whatever, and we can just at least start there. If we want to do more photographs through the summer, let's say we start to get buy-in because they start to see them, then we
Yeah.
can say, yeah, you know what, guess what, we'll do them, I don't know, during the art festival or Labor Day weekend or something, another thing that we can incorporate into his history and art, you know, and photography. But we need to start, and even if we only have, like I say, 8 or 10 of them, it's something, but we don't want to go with nothing.
Yeah,
Okay.
Christine, the letters that went out went to the building owners, not to the shopkeepers that were leasing property.
Right, the building owners, because we need their permission, but
Well,
I
we
would
need
say,
their permission on the plaque, but not on the photograph. The shopkeeper has to give us permission to hang this for this
Mhm.
1 month in their window, because it's going to take up advertising space and whatever excuse they come up with. So,
Well-
you know, if we don't get an answer within a week, I think we should maybe look at the photographs that we didn't see, you know, a stark difference between then and now, and go down and knock on the doors and just talk to the business owner.
I
to see
agree.
if
I
it
mean, I'm more than willing to put some, you know, miles under my feet here and just go up and down Main Street and explain to the shop owners. but we could also, if the property owner is okay with the historic plaque, and we can say, we're going to have, we have permission for this, we'd like to also incorporate this into it. Would you mind if we put it in the window for the month of May? And then they can keep it. I mean, they could display it behind their cash register, right? I mean, these are for them to keep, correct?
Right, oh, yeah, yeah. Well, why do I do this, Christine? But why don't I shoot for by March 3rd? I will go to Office Depot and I will get 8x10s printed up of Matt or whoever's got the people that responded from the plaques. Can somebody send me the addresses for those 3?
I can
make-
tell you
Yeah.
right now.
Okay,
Yeah,
You got a pen?
I got it.
5529 Main Street.
5529.
That's Bank of America.
Okay,
wait.
5578 Main Street. That's Eagle House.
we got that one too. Okay.
5329 Main Street. That's DeCamillo's.
We have all 3 of those. Okay, those 3, I will take to Office Depot and I'll get 8x10s printed up. Now, I'll have them in paper. Now, I don't know how to share them. I mean, my scanner's not working, so I can't scan them.
Take that there, Jim.
What?
Oh, do you have them on a flash drive or
I have the original on a flash drive.
take that?
Right, I'm going to.
And that's what they'll use because that's going to give you the best result.
Right.
Once I print it up on an 8x10 though, you aren't going to be able to see it.
Well, yeah, you are because they'll show it to you.
No, I think he means he wants to share it with you to see what the quality came out as.
Right. See, I will have paper and then I got to get the paper out to you guys. Now, maybe I can bring it to the village, Matt. Do they have a scanner in there that they can scan?
They do.
All
Yeah.
right, that's what I'll do. I'll bring them, once I get the 8x10 in paper, I will bring them to the village to have them scanned and sent to each of you so you can see the quality.
Okay,
You
Is
can
that
also do the scanning at the library. And
Well-
print out at the library is 10 cents a page.
Yeah, I'm going, Chuck, I'm going to the village and I'm going to have them do it.
yeah.
Okay.
Keaton can
Free
do
there.
it. Keaton will help us with that, just to get the
Yeah,
information.
he don't take care of it.
And
And
so
then
those
get that
3,
done.
and I will shoot for March 3rd to get those produced.
Okay, good, because then we can have something, even if we, at the end of the day, don't get response from anybody else and we have 3, we have at least 3.
Sure.
So it's something, I always say something's better than nothing when it comes to
I
this.
mean, we can see 8x10s. I mean, we talked at the committee meeting about, gee, maybe they should be bigger, but I don't know if then you do have a grain issue.
Yeah.
By
I think
20.
8x10 is
So use
fair.
this opportunity to experiment a little bit when you go to Office Depot or Walgreens or wherever you're going.
All
Ask
right,
them to make a couple of sizes.
Yeah,
okay.
do an
Let me
8
try
by 10,
that.
11 by
They'll have
14,
it on the paper too that you need.
Yeah, what's the next size up? Would that be
11 by 14.
11x14? Okay. Well, let me try both of those, okay? And then I'll keep my receipts, man. If they can reimburse me, that would be good.
Yep.
Okay. All right, that's where we're at in this thing. Originally we did have these dates. Originally, Christine, we did have these dates for this plan. Chuck can remind me, I think, what is it? May is Preservation Month. And that
Right.
was kind of what we're targeting, but it may be in view of the lack of interest right now in the Williamsville Business Association. Christine, your way is the best way to go. Just whoever has responded positively to the plaques, let's start out there.
Yeah, let's start there. And actually, we can maybe drum up more support and say, we already have 4 businesses that are going to participate. We're trying to, and then just go from there.
Okay.
I mean, we all know the Eagle House. I know DeCamillo's. I know they'll do it. I just have to call Matt and he'll, I know they'll do it.
Well, Jeff
So-
and Margaret live across the street from me.
Oh, okay.
DeCamillo's. So we know them
Yeah.
pretty well.
Yeah,
Jeff
so I
Local.
don't think we'll have a problem with, with that or Bank of America. I would think not. They would, you know, it's a conversation piece. It's a good conversation piece.
That
if
Bank
nothing
of
else.
America building, are they closed? I heard word that they're not even, that building's not open.
They're not closed, but you have to have appointments to get in, and most of the time it's just, it's a different kind of business.
All right, we'll work on that later, but we'll shoot for these three and I'll get them printed up and we'll get them scanned and sent out, see what you guys think.
Okay, good starting point. Perfect.
Okay.
Christine, do you know someone that you could get the membership list of the Williamsville Business Association? They would have their names and telephone numbers and that, and we could do a telephone.
We could, Matt, does the village have anything, the board have anything, or?
Yeah, Keaton would be your resource for that. He's the liaison to WBA. He has all the contacts.
All right,
Okay,
I'll email him.
I'll give him a call tomorrow.
Oh, okay, Chuck, yeah, give him a call. And then if we get the list, we can just, yeah, make some phone calls, or if if it's somewhere that you frequent, you can just go in and see them. I mean, Eagle House, we just went there as soon as they opened for a fish fry, so, who doesn't frequent these places, so yeah, that's a good idea. Let's get that list. And then Matt, the rest of the letters that went out, Morpat, Excuria, we did not hear back from those business owners.
That is correct. Yeah, we haven't heard back from them as of yet. So, yeah, so it was Morpat, it was Excuria, it was Pairings. So Pairings, as a tenant is closed. I think the ownership they may be an out of town, like LLC or something. Morpat is actually owned by, the building is actually owned by the doctor who also owns Share and the plastic surgery center there by Glen Park. Dr.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Shavi or something. It's like
It's
ZV.
it's Dr. Sharf, Svi Sharf.
There we go. Thank you, Tom.
You got it. I had to contribute something, Matt, so
Thank you, Tom.
not much help on photographs. Sorry, guys.
So Dr. Sharp, is he involved with David Sutton with Brightsmith, or is that another?
He
setup?
owns it.
He owns that.
Yeah,
He owns the
He's a part
building.
owner of it too.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I thought.
It's shame on me. I was he was actually in our work session at village board meeting last night. It didn't even cross my mind. So, but he's pretty easygoing, I think, with regards to his tenants and stuff. So I think they've just been preoccupied. So, and then Excuria, I'm not sure what their deal is, but I know that last I had heard, and this goes back a ways, they were planning on relocating. So they just may not see it as priority or not. I'm not sure. But so the suggestion was from Judy is either A, we continue banging down doors and trying to, get someone to answer for those addresses. And I think Morpat is probably the easiest lift of the three. Or we move on to the next three on your list. Plus there was this discussion about doing the next 5 for this year. So that could be up to 8 new addresses.
Right. Okay, so let's move on. Well, then we're into historic plaques. So we're all set with the photography stuff, right?
Right, yep.
Well,
Okay.
it's
All
a
right,
little
so
side issue, Christine, that I like to bring up at this time with Matt, and that's in talking about Morpat. They are in violation of modifying in 2 different occasions, modifying a historic building without going through the building department and HPC. They added on to the side of the building with a kind of a wooden awning type thing, and then now they have curtains on it, and they also put a front porch, a plastic front porch to the building. All these are in violation of our laws here in the village, and it is so obvious, but nothing's being done about it.
Okay, well, So I would say then, either you or Christine or both should send an email to Tim Masters and say, hey, these things exist here. They're not supposed to. They're in violation. Please go out and, observe this condition and issue them citations. Make them, force them to appear. And then hand
Okay.
them a plaque.
I mean,
Yeah,
Right.
thank you very much.
Did they make,
Right.
are these permanent modifications? Just out of question? I mean, if they're
The-
temporary modifications, I guess that's what I would question.
They seem to
They-
be made them permanent.
you cannot modify a historic building without our permission.
Right, but is it a permanent modification?
That's by definition.
It's the
Tim
wood
was
structure.
saying that what they did on the side was not a permanent thing. It was just up there for the summer, but he bolted the thing into the side of the building. So it becomes an addition. By definition, it's an addition. And it was like, we got laughed off.
Did he need to get a permit for it?
He needed to go before the HPC.
He doesn't
Right,
need
but
a,
does he need a permit to attach that to the building?
That's a good question.
It's the-
Because
yeah.
that's where, if you're
The
bringing in
structure?
Tim Masters is gonna say, well, he didn't need a permit.
but Tim knows the difference
No,
between.
it's not Todd, it's Tim, T-I-M.
Huh?
Yeah, no, he said Tim.
Tim.
The-
Tim Masters, yeah. So I guess the question I've got is if it needed a permit and they did it without a permit, then you're right, then it would be something that's, illegal, as you're saying. But if they didn't need a permit, like, I guess I don't understand.
Well, it was brought up when they did the addition on the side of the place, to add a little shade type thing. That this was in violation, and Tim just threw his hands up and it stayed up. I mean, he knew about it, but did nothing about it.
So it's the thing on the side you're referring to is a trellis.
Yes. The
It's-
trellis now has plastic walls and plastic windows in it.
But there's a platform that the trellis stands on too.
Right. So if it's physically connected to the face of the Morpat building and dependent upon that building, then yes, Chuck, you're right, it is an addition. And that would arguably require a permit. If it's freestanding trellis as part of the deck, it may or may not have required a permit.
Yeah, it's not freestanding. It was bolted into the building at the very beginning.
Guys, this started before my time here, but with this commission, but was the deck approved? Was the deck approved by code enforcement, by Tim? I mean, did they build a deck first? Is that where it started?
But you would need a permit for a deck.
Right, so did they get a permit and build the deck?
I don't think we have the authority to comment on a deck because what has been classified as historic is the building, not a historic site, but just a historic building.
Yep, but if he's added the deck to the historic building, that's a modification, and you need a permit to add a deck to your home.
And it's possible that he did get a permit for that, but it probably predates Tim. It certainly predates me.
So,
There was no,
So-
there was no deck there, there was no deck.
right, there was no deck. I remember
Yeah, I mean,
years ago.
yeah.
But that was my question. Did it
Just
start with the deck?
All the party on, the music on Main and everything else, they began things like that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know, I understand that, but I mean, to predate me only takes 2.5 years. So, I mean,
Yeah, it's been there.
yeah, I mean, it's
Right, but the
possible.
deck was
So my point is, the only person who can answer these questions is
Is
Tim.
Or what about the permits that were issued to see if there is a permit? Was
He
issued?
would be the person to ask.
Yeah, he can look it up.
Matt, can I ask a related question?
Yep.
At one point, wasn't there, I don't know how, wasn't there like a piece of the sidewalk that went into the village and the village was gonna sell a piece of land for Morpat.
Yep.
Has that been done or what's the story on that?
We literally just had the conversation last night at work session. The doctor's attorney is working on drafting up the legal description of the addition of the additional property to relocate the property line. And then once that's resolved and reviewed by our attorney, then the land transfer will happen.
All right, so you're working on that. Okay.
Because right now, the property line of the street goes right up to the face of the building.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I mean, so if, you know, so in truth, if this is truly a concern and it sounds like it is, the one and only person to contact about how and when and why and where is Tim. He's the man.
Okay, well, the commission should contact him.
Yeah, I'll send him an email. I'll ask him. I'll send him an
Okay.
email and ask him to look into it. I'll let you guys know. Meanwhile, should we look
Back
at
to
some
the
other,
agenda.
What was that, Chuck?
Back to the agenda.
Oh, yeah.
back to the agenda? Yes, that was a bit of a sidebar there. The historic plaque project. Can we think of, 5 more? We already have, now, are we even gonna consider printing or making one for pairings and exterior right now if they're not responding?
That was the whole sort of point of asking them, was to make sure that we weren't wasting our money and time. Because we can't compel them to put it up.
Yeah, right. And it sounds like Morpat, they'll come around, so we can use them, but I don't know, what do you guys think of the other two? We can leave them on because they were already voted on, but we can maybe approve 6 more and try to get buy-in from them and then see what we've got and pair it up with the photography project. What do you think? I mean,
Isn't there a list someplace of who we have given plaques to?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's in marker on the satellite image that we have at Village Hall.
See, before you think
Sure.
about who to give them to, you got to know who's already got them.
Yeah, it was all marked up on that big poster board that we have in the conference room.
Mary should have that information.
yeah, well, Mary
Yes.
approved, I think they were approved in November 2019, she said. It was the ones we've already talked about. Morpat, Eagle House,
Right.
DeCamillo, BOA, pairings, Excuria. She was proposing Devolio, Share, Aquest Development, Newberry, Starbucks, well, Newberry now, Tesori and Robichaud, but are they leasing that? Did I see that was up for lease again or recently?
Which one?
Vocal's law office.
It's for him. Yeah, so are you saying the old law office next to the meeting house?
Yes.
Yeah, so he was just explaining that on Saturday, actually. So his senior partner is retiring, and they couldn't come to terms on a sale of the property. So Jeff has relocated his office to the building on South Lawn behind DeCamillo's there, and I think the partners put the white building up for sale.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so we can hold off on that one. But Tesori is a good one.
Yeah, I live right behind Tesori. So,
I mean, maybe we can, Matt, what do you think about putting the letter out first?
Sure.
What do you think, guys? Should we put the letter out first and to the proposed businesses and see what kind of feedback we get?
I would say start with that first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was sort of the idea last time. So if you
Yeah.
want to just give me a list, I'll modify the letter from last year, and I'll have Judy send them out.
Now, are you sending them to the owners of the building, or are you sending them to the tenants that are there?
Well, theoretically, it goes to the owner of the building.
Okay.
Right,
Um,
which is sometimes the tenant, but if not,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Then-
you know, because it's their,
Yeah.
it's not the tenant's building, so.
Right.
right, then we can partner with the tenant for the photograph,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, kind of tie everything in. So why don't we, what do you think about Devolio? Share, Act West Development, which is the corner building there, Newberry and Tesori.
I think those are good starts because they're, you know, they've all been here a long time. You know, we're losing a lot of the buildings.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
So that-
after the letter goes out, to give them, you know, like maybe a week to respond back, but then a follow-up telephone call to make sure that
Yeah.
we really will be able to mount this on their building.
Mhm.
yeah,
No,
Yeah, that's-
these buildings have been on the agenda for a long time, you know.
oh my gosh, yeah,
we
I know.
Drew up these names, you know, over a decade ago, you know, at least. And
Yeah.
it's and some of the owners are still the same, and I think it would be,
Well, except some of the owners, like the old Starbucks, are in Albany, New York City,
Right,
going for a historical designation, and sent a lawyer here at every meeting that we had on this thing at $475 an hour. So we got it.
Starbucks is gone now,
so, yeah,
yeah.
it's
start-
Newberry now.
Newberry now.
Well, I know, but I couldn't remember Newberry's name.
Who,
But, you know, I think,
who owns that building?
huh?
Who owns the building?
It's
that
a
we-
Matt Lester owns the building.
Yeah, yeah.
Matt Lester's a broker. He owns Caliber Brokerage. He's out of
Yeah,
Rochester.
no, I know who he
He's trying to
is.
sell.
I know who he is.
He's trying to sell the building.
Well, that particular property and the one next to it, the Rite Aid, had the ice house in between, and this has been, you know, those have been targeted for a long time as historic. So,
Well,
Matt-
we could try,
Matt-
let's try those.
I don't know who can do this, but it would be neat if somebody could convert the information on that map to a list that could go out to the members of the HPC. So we have a list instead of like a highlighted map.
Yeah.
Well, that-
Let me tell you something. I started, see all these little, I looked at it one day and I started to write everything down. And I got to there. I was like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work. So.
Well, This
Copy and
this map came from a list, so the list exists.
Oh,
Well,
good.
this is it.
Okay, well,
Oh, I'll dig in. Maybe there's a list.
a
with
list,
it.
that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, most of them are listed in the,
Reconnaissance study or?
actually, that's where the whole list is, but
Yeah.
you know, that map was designated, Chuck did all this, all the differentiation here, I'm gonna pull it back up again. To designate, you know, what's been nominated, and what's, you know, eligible, and things like that. Those things that have been nominated, there was a list. It is no longer comprehensive because there has been supplemental nominations, but that list was in the design standards.
Okay, I'm just wondering, it would be handy to have that,
Yeah, so the design standards, of course, are available online.
right?
The reconnaissance level survey is available online.
Yeah,
It should be on the website.
I mean, there's Jacqueline Shop was one of them.
Yeah.
Williamsville Liquor Store.
The whole block where the Jacqueline Shop is was at one time, you know, suggested.
Okay, so let's give Matt those next 5, at least try that. Can we add maybe 2 just in case we don't get? Let me throw out some names here, but the Williamsville Liquor Store, because it has been pretty much there forever.
Mm.
Would that be one that people would be willing to add?
You know, did Beach Time Funeral Home get one?
That's a good question.
That building has been modified severely.
Well, not, if you look now, if you look at the 1955 photo of that, it's amazing how close, there's a lot of similarities to where it looks now. That's what I was thinking about. It popped into my head that on the we got a really neat photograph of that Beach Time Funeral Home from 55.
Yeah, why don't we put that on the list? Because it is a good photograph, and it's in that little pocket where, you know, that pocket of Maine. We're trying to pull a little bit in from maybe each block, and it's in that block where we don't really have any.
And I think there's a lot of history behind that structure.
You're right, Jim.
I think that structure was a bar, and that was part of the Underground Railroad. That there was a tunnel that went under Main Street over to the Eagle House, and then they went over to the mill, and then they took a boat up Ellicott Creek to the Niagara River to Canada. I think that's really the history of that building.
Beach Time originally was a furniture factory.
Well, I heard it was a tavern at one point.
They made caskets and furniture. But I still think, you know, instead of going through all that, I think it's one that we probably should ask because it's good.
Yeah. Okay, we'll add them to the list. So Matt, we'll give you.
I'm writing the email to Judy right now.
Matt is on the job.
Okay.
Can I
So you
just
have
ask a
one.
question? Christine, could you reiterate the buildings that you have just added or you just
Proposing.
proposing? I have
Okay.
Folio,
Folio,
Share.
share,
Aquest,
Aquest Development, mhm.
Newberry Development, Tesori,
sorry,
you've just added Beach Time.
Beach
Is that
Time,
correct?
And Williamsville Liquor.
and Williamsville Liquor Store.
Yeah.
Okay. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Should be 7, yeah.
Okay.
That's a good
So
start.
we'll get 7 out, and if we get 5 back, we'll be good. We'll have 8. And that'll be an amazing May. It'll be good. Okay, so we've got the new proposal. We'll get those letters out, see what we get back. Matt, maybe if you get some feedback, we can have it, you know, just let us know in real time as they come in, and so we can put them on the agenda for next month.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, thank you.
I'd
Okay.
like to bring up the issue with the plaques and this whole thing in May. Matt, this is something you go back to the board. My vision was that for the entire month, that the first meeting of the trustees, they do a proclamation that preservation, you know, for the month to celebrate that. On their second meeting, which is in week 3, to be the week that we hand out and put up the plaques. We have during the whole month, the photographs that are up, and we get a series of articles from the Bee and with this activities, joining up with the Niagara Buffalo Preservation Office to get some publicity and working with Keaton to get some articles and maybe the Buffalo paper as well as the Amherst Bee on such topics like the village is listed as a historic village. What makes it historic? You know, Depew has old buildings, but they're not called historic. What makes us unique? And to start raising some of these issues to get people talking and thinking about preservation.
It's fine with me. Sounds
Good
great.
thought. Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
The only comment I would have about the plaque presentation is, obviously that wants to be in person. And it may be difficult to do that in the context of the village board meeting on an evening indoors, depending on where we're at health department guidelines wise. But that being said, your meeting is the day after the village board meeting, and you could schedule your meeting to be an outdoor event and, right in front of Village Hall or something, and have people come up and do it as part of your regular meeting.
now that's a good idea, Matt.
I have them once in a while.
When we present those photographs, we're gonna have to make sure we give credit to the town of Amherst. 'Cause
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
it's the
Yep.
archives where these things are coming from.
Yeah,
so. Okay,
Yeah, just, that should even be on them, but, excuse me, but I think that, having a central location, even, even if the village hall or, the park or someplace where, it's recognizable, even in front of the village, the mill would be a nice place too. Which is a symbol.
Oh, yeah, that would be very nice if we could talk to Howard and just, because that'll be Jenny time.
I bet you Howard would love that.
Well,
Right.
yeah. So I mean, Howard does have a covenant on the property that it can be used for public assembly. So.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
it was part of the deal with the plaza being constructed there and everything, that it could be available for public events. So he just
All right.
needs a little bit of heads up.
I think, that at that time, people will be out walking around, and that might be a nice thing to showcase.
Yeah. And then you could buy some ice cream.
There you go.
Yeah. The May meeting at the mill. I like it. Very good. See, this is productive. And that's a great idea because it's a good spot for historic plaques to be presented.
Oh, sure.
It is the history of the village of Williamsville, that the mill. So great.
Towards that end, to maybe grease the wheels with Howard a little bit, he did just put $350,000 of his own money into rehabbing that third building on the property there, which is also a historic building.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
nice.
So maybe that could be one of the plaque recipients.
Good idea.
Oh, that is a good idea.
There you go. Add that to the
Another
list.
one, another good idea from Matt.
I gotta sign off now. I'm
Matt,
You can't, Matt. I've got something to bring up with you.
I
What's
have
up,
a
Chuck?
little pushback on that building because the plaque is so far back, it's not going to be seen unless you walk out of your way to go see what that building is.
It's
But
historic,
now we-
Oh,
so
during the
It's
summer,
a
people,
but it's a historic building, and he has a brand new tenant that has multiple businesses that are trying to get started in that building, bringing new
Yeah.
people to an area of the village that people don't go to.
and Chuck, during the summer, people stroll over there with their ice cream.
Yeah. Lots of people, and you've got the sitting area right there, right? That's actually the signage for that new business is gonna come before us probably next month. A sign for that one. I thought it would come this month, but I just got an email last night that not yet. So hopefully next month we'll see.
it's a smart thing to do.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so add that one to the list if you can, Matt. Please.
Okay.
Are we ready for item number 3?
Yeah, yes, we are.
Are we? Okay. Matt, let me lay my cards on the table. So I heard rumors that the mayor wants to eliminate the HPC.
What?
That's what I had heard.
I don't know where you heard that rumor, but that is just flat out untrue.
Okay, and that Kate is trying to get back on the HPC and the mayor's not happy about that.
I
None
have
of-
no idea what you're talking about, Jim.
All right, okay, maybe there's nothing to it then. Okay.
I was wondering, I've had a few members come to me with that concern in the last couple weeks, Matt. And I mean, I've been at most of the board meetings and I haven't heard that, so.
Nope.
I mean,
I
Chuck,
was-
do you want to say anything about this, Chuck?
Well, she did say at the board meeting that she wanted to do with the, for us to stop being a certified local government. And it's
But
through
that's
that law
part of
that we allow HPC to be in existence, to get money from the.
Well,
That's
Well, to
that.
be honest, Matt, that Chuck mentioned this to me when we talked at the photographic committee meeting. That's where I'm coming from. So Chuck, maybe
okay,
you
so
can enlighten us.
the CLG status conversation that occurred. I mean, I'll
There's
have
a
to
lot of
dig through. I'll have to dig through my files, but I'm going to say it was a year ago, maybe not quite as long. And the mayor just tried to go off agenda to discuss, the CLG status during a board meeting, and she didn't get a second to go off agenda. And the topic died right there. There is no support for that idea at all, and the mayor has completely backed off of that concept. And it was a totally unnecessary diversion at the time and remains so.
Okay, well, that's good news. Chuck had raised some of these issues, and I thought you being a trustee, this would be the appropriate time to discuss them.
And I will say, Matt did come to our defense during that discussion and explained why CLG was important and what it meant. And I don't know if you remember, I was at that meeting, Matt, and I did commend you on taking care of us, taking care of the village that way, because we are a historic village. So
Yeah,
CLG is
no, I mean,
important.
it was there was some, I think, shall we say, misinformation as to what CLG really meant and why it was valuable, and that has since been cleared up.
Okay, all right, fine. I'm glad there's no problem on. It's fine.
Thanks, Matt. I feel better because the guys were pretty worried about that.
Yeah.
And
no,
they're getting me worried about it. I'm like, what do you mean?
No, that conversation, just for the record, that conversation occurred on Monday, June 22nd. And by 8:17 p.m., it was no longer an issue.
Okay. All
You
right.
can put that in the minutes, Deb.
It'll be on the recording.
Of 2020.
Thanks,
2020,
Matt.
yeah.
Thank you for that clarification.
See? So let's get to our meeting in May. This is gonna be exciting. Okay, and then our budget. What's our budget status? Matt, you're up again. Good thing you're here
100%.
tonight.
You asked, you receive, 100%.
Well,
Oh,
that's
good.
Okay.
Excellent.
And we're still under budget.
Nice.
What's the budget in the budget for us?
It's the exact same as it was last year. So you got the 2,500 for the plaques, you got the 1,000 for printing and advertising budget, the same.
300 training. What was it for training?
Yeah, 300 hours for, $300 for training hours, things like that.
Excellent. Okay. Very good. Anything else under old business that anybody, I didn't put in the agenda that anybody can think of?
Could I just ask Christine and Matt?
Sure.
I know that we were invited to that training session, through the Amherst preservation people. If if the training has no cost associated with it, do we, should we still be asking for permission to do some of the training? I guess that's.
Yeah, I mean, there's money in the budget to pay for continuing education credits. You're required to, achieve those. So that money is covered by the village expenses. So, you really just let us know if you're going to be attending a training, or send a message to Judy and just say, we're signing up for this training so that she knows it's coming. Usually these things have to be like approved, maybe even retroactively by the board as considered approved, credit hours or whatever. But that's just, bureaucratic paperwork. So
I'm just wondering because if there is free training involved with, professional organizations and things like that, to do that in advance as well, right? Or
Yeah.
no? Okay.
Right, so we can get the credit hours, we can get credited for it, even if it is free of charge.
Mhm.
Yeah, just make sure that at least Judy knows. She'll put it on the agenda to be,
Okay.
to be a thing in a board meeting to just approve those hours as approved credit. And
Okay, very good. All right, anything else?
No,
The only other thing was I think it came down from Matt, was that the public hearing for the wall on Garrison Avenue.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
right.
Yes, I sorry, I did send that email out.
We were going to ask for a public hearing, and it just never happened, or I'm not sure what.
No, what happened, Chuck, is that was all part of the same chunk of nominations that included all the stone walls and monuments.
Yes.
And you guys had like one of the last in-person public hearings before COVID shut everything down. And so you guys had gone through, you had done all of your nominations, opened and closed all your public hearings, and made your recommendations to the village board. And then we held our public hearings, but the property owner for the one on Garrison requested that we table the public hearing until it could be done in person. Now, when they requested that, I don't think they thought it was going to take this long. But now that the village board is appearing in person, and with limited outside participation, we figure if they're comfortable with appearing in person at one of our village board meetings, then we can try and clean up that docket. So I think that's scheduled for April something, one of the April meetings, either the 12th. I think it's the 12th or the 26th. I forget.
26.
26?
26. Yeah.
Okay. And so it's, it presumably, I'm not exactly sure why they wanted it in person necessarily. And I know that they were objecting to it. I don't exactly remember the details, something about they were questioning the validity of the age of the wall relative to the age of the house and the property. But I don't know what evidence they had or didn't have, or what evidence HPC had or didn't have for the nomination. So I have to review the file. It's been a while.
Hey, Matt, do they understand that it's just the wall?
They
I
do.
wonder if
They
there's
do.
an understanding. Okay.
It's sort of a funny thing because they openly acknowledge that they love the wall. They have no intention to remove the wall. They do maintain the wall, but I think they may simply be opposed to the idea of having to ask permission to do that maintenance.
Okay.
The other thing, I have a vague memory of them saying that they felt like the the wall was more from the mid-50s than what was submitted as support for the nomination, which doesn't actually mean that the wall itself is not eligible for nomination, but it may be that the record is incorrect.
The Borough report in 97 says on that wall that it was highlighted by them. They said they believed that it was built by Oshner, who built the castle.
Right. But I don't know, is there any supporting documentation to prove that?
Yeah, where's the proof? That's the thing.
So I guess the point is that if there is some supporting documentation, you know, I haven't done any legwork to try and find it. If this commission, you know, you guys obviously have the right to appear at the public hearing. I encourage you to do so. And if there is any sort of supporting documentation to the nomination that either isn't in the record or can be dug up between now and then, now would be the chance.
Okay, I know Mary said she was gonna be there, so I'll ask her.
Okay.
If she has any idea. Okay. Okay, anything else? Any other questions?
Matt, our next meeting, are we still doing Zoom I mean, do we have to do Zoom meetings or what's the status of?
That's a good
Yeah.
question. I'm glad you mentioned that. So we are not obliged to do Zoom meetings. We are not prohibited from doing Zoom meetings.
Okay.
But what we have right now is the opportunity to kind of do like a hybrid approach, which is essentially what the village board has been doing, where we appear in person, but you know, attendance can be done virtually. The village hall is currently working to upgrade some of the facilities in the boardroom to accommodate all of the board members on the dais as opposed to being spread out. They're getting some Lexan panels and things like that, more like a bank teller almost. And my understanding was that that was supposed to be done very shortly, but I just found out today that there's a bit of a delay, and they had hoped to have the planning board, which is a week from yesterday, appear in person, but they won't be ready to do that. But they do believe it will be done by the end of next month. So conceivably by your meeting at the end of March, the boardroom would be set up in a way that would be conducive to appearance in person with a virtual attendance.
I mean, I'm okay with Zoom meetings. I just wondered where we are with this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's some hesitancy from a lot of folks to be in one place right now.
Well,
So
there's still limitations on the quantity of persons you can have in one space and social distanced and everything. And so it's a, you know, the boardroom is a big room, but it's not that big. And when you start to add up the number of bodies, it adds up pretty quickly. So they're trying to get a little technology upgrades to make things a little easier, and like a new camera for streaming, because right now we're using one that's mounted on a TV, connected to a laptop, and it's a little awkward. So, but hopefully that will be all done, and you can appear in person. And then the other thing too is that for anyone who is on the commission, or any board for that matter, who has any reservations about appearance in person or close proximity, you are always more than welcome to attend virtually, regardless of where the balance of the board is.
right. I would
Just wondering.
suggest we go month to month. I'm gonna opt for Zoom next month and see what April brings. But I'd like to see us go month to month.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna do it until I get my shots.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Anything else? Anybody else?
Only
All right.
one thing left. I move that we adjourn.
Well,
There you
the
go.
next meeting is going to be 3:23, right?
Yes,
Correct.
3:23. Mhm.
All right. I'll
Okay,
second Chuck.
there you go. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
All right, thank
Thanks.
you. Thanks a
Good
lot.
night.
Night. Take care.
Thanks, Deb. Yep, you too. Talk to you soon.
Have a good one.